Well, hi everyone. We're back. This is Rex Saldana with my friend Mark Stevens.
Hey, Rick, I'm glad to be here.
Yep. This is our sixth podcast, and this one we're gonna talk about the Eurythmics Hall of Fame nomination, which was just announced a couple of weeks ago. And today, February 14th, 2022, um, they have put out a press release. Eurythmics have put out a press release announcing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination. And I thought we would go ahead and just read that on the podcast. And then after I read that, Mark and I will talk a little bit about our feelings about the Hall of Fame and why we think Eurythmics should be in there, and what we can all do as fans to make sure that they stay in the top five. As of this moment, Judas Priest is closing in. Well, not closing in, but they have overtaken Lionel Richie. They have a few thousand votes to overtake Eurythmics, so
Yeah.
we got to keep that fan vote up. But I'm going to go ahead and read the press release right now.
So this is the official press release about
This
this.
is the official press release that was released today, so it's out in all the wires and news services and all that. February 14th, 2022, Eurythmics have been named as nominees to be inducted by the 2022 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This marks the award-winning worldwide multi-platinum British duo's second nomination for induction into the Rock Hall, honoring a truly legendary body of work marked by critical applause, countless honors, and estimated global sales currently approaching 100 million. Indeed, Eurythmics have proven among the most enduring artists in music history, currently standing as the third most streamed of all current Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees.
Wow.
Quote, Dave and I go back a long way together. Our journey as Eurythmics took us through indescribable highs and lows. It's been an unbelievable life experience. Every one of the artists nominated for the Hall of Fame has their own unique version of a similar-looking glass world. We've all been there and earned the T-shirt. Thanks go to everyone who ever loved us and purchased our records and all the great musicians and crew we worked with over the years, says Eurythmics co-founder Annie Lennox. I am delighted Eurythmics have been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame USA for the second time. This is Dave Stewart speaking now. I am a great believer in the power of song. Annie and I have always tried to write songs that would stand the test of time. It's now more than 40 years since we launched our first album and tour, and it seems like the songs still resonate with all ages. To be in the same company of such legendary nominees is an honor and something I never dreamt of when I was in the northeast of England at 14 years old and learning to play the blues whilst listening to Robert Johnson and Mississippi John Hurt, says Eurythmics co-founder Dave Stewart. Founded in 1980 by singer and songwriter Annie Lennox and musician, songwriter, and producer Dave Stewart, Eurythmics achieved global success with their landmark 1983 second album, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Produced by Stewart and co-written by Lennox and Stewart, the title track proved a true global phenomenon, reaching number one on charts around the world, including Billboard's Hot 100 in the United States. A string of worldwide multi-platinum albums and hit singles, including such award-nominated chart-topping classics as Here Comes the Rain Again, Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves with Aretha Franklin, Would I Lie to You, and Missionary Man, followed before Eurythmics parted ways in 1990. The following year saw the duo's remarkable canon celebrated with the Recording Industry Association of America's 3 times platinum and the British Phonograph Institute's 6 times platinum collection Greatest Hits, which reached the top of the album charts around the globe, spending a total of 10 weeks at number 1 on the UK album chart, and remains Eurythmics' best-selling album worldwide. After almost a decade apart, Eurythmics reunited to record their ninth studio album, 1999's Peace, followed by a new single featured on 2005's BPI 3 times platinum certified compilation album, Ultimate Collection. This is lengthy, I know, everyone. We have a few more paragraphs. Among their many international honors, Eurythmics received the 1984 MTV Video Music Award for Best New Artist, the 1987 Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal, and the 1999 Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music, alongside a wide range of nominations, inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2005, and Eurythmics were among the 2020 inductees to the Songwriters Hall of Fame. That same year also saw Sweet Dreams Are Made of This inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in recognition of its qualitative and historical significance. Both Lennox and Stewart have received countless awards and nominations across their careers, with a combined 15 Ivor Novello Awards honoring excellence in music writing. Named among Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Singers of All Time, Lennox has received an Academy Award, 8 Brit Awards, including an unprecedented 6 British Female Solo Artist Awards, a Golden Globe, 3 Grammy Awards, and a Billboard Century Award, to name but a few, along with a list of long accolades honoring her wide-ranging philanthropic efforts around the world. Among his many international laurels, Stewart has been awarded 3 Brit Awards as Producer of the Year, a Golden Globe, a Critics' Choice Movie Award, the Clive Davis Legend in Songwriting Award, more than 25 ASCAP Awards and BMI Awards for Most Performed Song, and the 2015 Music Producers Guild Outstanding Contribution to UK Music Award. As dramatic and electrifying on stage as in the studio, Eurythmics were a massively successful live act across every era of their long career, most recently reuniting in 2019 for a 3-song performance at Sting's Rainforest Fund 30th Anniversary Benefit Concert in New York City, which prompted Rolling Stone to write, quote, "The duo of Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart completely stole the show, rising above even Bruce Springsteen. They haven't been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame despite appearing on 2 recent ballots, but this performance alone proved that this gross injustice needs to be addressed very soon." Eurythmics are currently among the top 5 artists on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's official fan vote leaderboard. The top 5 artists, as selected by the public, will comprise a fans ballot that will be tallied along with other ballots to select the 2022 inductees. Fans are invited to log in at vote.rockhall.com to cast a daily ballot through April 29th. Voting is capped at 1 ballot per day. Nominee ballots are sent to the Rock Hall's international voting body of more than 1,000 artists, historians, and members of the music industry. Factors such as an artist's musical influence on other artists, length and depth of career and body of work, innovation, and superiority in style and technique are taken into consideration. Inductees will be announced in May 2022. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2022 induction ceremony will take place this fall, with date, venue, and on-sale information to be announced later. And that's the press release in its entirety.
Well, I think that you were saying, this is sort of lengthy, but I think that in itself, it tells you exactly why that Dave Stewart and Annie Lennox, Eurythmics, should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because it did take you that long to go through just the list of qualifications and why they have been a musical force for all these years. And I think that speaks for it very clearly.
Yes, and it was surprising that that information about being a top streamed artist, from the Hall of Fame nominations. I think that's really good. I think the music crosses generations, and it's timeless. Like Dave Stewart says, it stands the test of time. Classic pop song, created in an electro pop version to begin with, then later branching out into rock, pop, and soul and other things. But always, like Dave says, songs that can just be played on the guitar or the piano. At its heart, they are just really good, well-written songs. And for me personally, that's why I fell in love with Eurythmics, because of the songwriting. I just thought, my God, I've never heard songs this good, which of course, there are other songs out there that are wonderful in other artists, but it really spoke to me. And so those are all the reasons I think they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, they have stood the test of time, and the songs have stood the test of time. Their songs are still played around the world every single day. Multiple times per day. The streaming is a fact for that. But beyond Eurythmics, if you want to say their heyday in the 80s, Annie Lennox went on to have this huge solo career. Dave has continued to record and perform and work with other artists, like we've mentioned before. Daryl Hall is at his studio recording now. So they have stayed and become very important. And I love that Rolling Stone even mentioned that it was almost an abomination that they're not in their piece in 2019 about the Sting Rainforest concert, and that they said that they stole the show, which is very interesting, because one of Annie's other recent performances, got to go back 6 or 7 years, when she performed with Hozier on the Grammys, and every single person the next day was writing not about the Grammys awards only, but about her. And they said the same thing, quote, she stole the show.
Yeah. Well, I can think of many instances over Eurythmics and Annie Lennox's long career where they have said she stole the show. Another example would have been at the Freddie Mercury tribute when she performed with David Bowie. And our good friend Maureen used to say, what was her comment? Annie is the queen of entrances. Mm-hmm. Maureen used to say that all the time, and it's true. I mean, she used to make, it was another one would be when she presented on the Grammy Awards dressed as a sort of a dominatrix style Minnie Mouse. That stole the show too. Yeah, people were talking about that the next day. Yeah. So she knows how to make a splash. Let's not forget Earl at the 1983 Grammy Awards when they performed "Sweet Dreams" and when she did it in drag. Another scene-stealing moment.
Yeah. So but it's the music in the end that it has lasted and will continue to last. I mean, how many people have covered their songs? I mean, and younger artists, say, Annie Lennox is has been a hero or heroine perhaps of mine, and have done that. So it's
two artists that come to mind are Pink and Kelly Clarkson, who are always praising Annie, and Kelly does covers of her songs quite regularly on her TV show, and
and Reba McEntire and Kelly Clarkson, when they did a tour together, they opened the show. Reba comes down and she's singing Patsy Cline's "Sweet Dreams," and Kelly comes on and turns it into Eurythmics' "Sweet Dreams," and then they merge together and sing. I mean, these are the brilliant moments of history, and people don't do that. People don't open their shows, their own concerts, for a song that and for a group that's not important, that's not worthy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And one can say, well, you don't have to be in the Hall of Fame to have made a difference, and of course you don't. But I think these are nice accolades. I think fans like to see these things. They like the validation of these of their favorite band being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because they've been in your Hall of Fame all these years. They certainly have been in ours, so. And
I can't think of any fan who hasn't wanted them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for at least 20 years.
Yeah, and they've been eligible since what, 2006? Is that right?
I believe so, yeah, or 2005 or 2000.
You become eligible 25 years after your first proper recording or something to that effect.
That would have been 2006, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I don't know, they could have, I guess Eurythmics is nominated in that sense, the 25 years, but Dave and Annie go further back. So
another thing I wanted to point out is when Marilyn Manson did a cover of "Sweet Dreams," it was barely 10 years since the original came out by Eurythmics, and for a song to be covered that quickly and to achieve such huge success, I think says also a lot about them. And the way he interpreted that song, he sort of took the dark elements of it and just put that on steroids. The dark elements in Eurythmics' version are there, but Marilyn Manson really brought that out, and I think that's may have been the reason why they gave him permission to do that, because they knew that could be drawn out of it and something different could be done. And he did a very eye-popping video for that song, which I always thought, wow, I mean, the "Sweet Dreams" video by Eurythmics is a classic. He didn't do such a bad job with his video either. It's completely different, of course, but. Yeah. And it's funny. He made a comment back at that time when they asked, why did you choose to cover "Sweet Dream?" And he said, well, I sort of see it like a carrot that's dangling, and people will bite that carrot and then they will want to find out more about me and my music. I found that very interesting because Annie Lennox had said something very similar in an interview in the early 80s about, I believe it was, her orange hair and their image. And she said something about it being a carrot. And I wondered I know that's a common thing to say, but I wondered if maybe Marilyn Manson is a huge fan and was maybe echoing that. I don't know.
Interesting. I want to go back again on the Hall of Fame a bit. And I was reading earlier that there's only a small percentage of inductees that are women, a very small percentage. Now that could be also that for many, many years, or that it's long been a male dominated business. Not so much I don't think in today's world, but for a very long time that it was. But still, the amount of women who have been inducted, is still fairly small. And of course, as Eurythmics, it's a nomination for Dave Stewart and Annie Lennox, so that would help with that. She certainly would be worthy of that. She's just such a long, and I think the induction is of course is for Eurythmics, but I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that it's about the two performers and what they have done. And I think you read that somewhere. It's not just based on this, but it's just on how many hits you had or how many hit records you had, but that you have to be someone who has changed music history, that you have to have been someone who inspired others, who was innovative. And that was innovative. That was the word that every single journalist used to describe them in those early years, and still do. But the innovation of what Dave Stewart and Annie Lennox did with an 8-track recording that could record an album as important as Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, and then continued on. It would have been so easy. It would have been so easy for Sweet Dreams Are Made of This to have been a one-hit wonder. It had all the hallmarks of being such a thing, the repetition, the unique sound. But they were so much better than that. And, they continued with, career-defining albums every single time. So, it is worthy. And I do hope they
well, to echo what you just said, the press release says factors such as body of work, innovation, and superiority in style and technique are taken into consideration. So if anybody deserves to be in on those merits, it would be Eurythmics.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. So, and the fan vote, let's be clear on this, the fan vote, they're in the top 5, and the top 5, all the artists that end up in the top 5 of the fan vote gets an extra vote in that big collection of votes that 1,000 people are going to be voting, like you mentioned, former inductees, musicians, historians, etc. So it's not a lot in the final vote. So I think the fan vote is more of a public relations thing, something to get people thinking about the Hall of Fame and excited about it. It's not going to change. Most likely it could, as we say in any sort of election, one vote matters. So we can't dismiss the one vote. It could actually matter. So, but
I personally find it kind of cool that all Eurythmics fans can vote, and then it's sort of like we get a collective vote of our own that can be added. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, obviously they can't have every Eurythmics fan out there vote, but to do this is nice. And like you said, I think it's mostly about publicity and getting the word out there. But
it's easy to vote. We should say, if anybody's listening, they haven't done
easy to vote. Just go to vote.rockhall.com. You have to register with an email address before you can vote.
Yeah, and that's easy. As long as you put in your email and it confirm, they'll send you a confirmation. So make sure. And I have to say that I like that, because it's not going to accept your vote unless you've logged in with your email. So it can't be one of these things where you can figure it out and you can just keep voting a million times. It's not that. You get one vote for your email, and I try to do it in the sort of, usually it's in the mid-morning after I got up, and I try to do. I did forget the other day, and I realized it about late in the afternoon. I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't voted yet.
The first thing I do every morning is I'm having my coffee.
Yeah. So I think
so this podcast is just getting into about 20 minutes. So I think it's a good place to stop. We wanted to do kind of just a quick thing on the Hall of Fame, read the press release, give our reasons why we think they should be in there, and encourage fans to vote. So please do that every single day until April 29th. Vote.rockhall.com.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you for listening, and we will always be back with another podcast.
Yep. Vote Eurythmics.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.